Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
It's episode 212.
Across the Spiderverse.
This week on Cup of Rad. So do we start like with What's Up Danger or like...
What's up, Danger?
Gotta watch me now.
That song plays on our playlist all the time. It's actually a really good workout song.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite songs to run to. Back when I used to run on the treadmill.
What you're gonna do soon.
Which I'm gonna do again soon, which is very exciting. But yeah, it was a good soundtrack. Now that, of course, is referring to Into the Spiderverse, the original entry into the Spiderverse franchise, saga, if you will.
For the films.
Of the films there.
In case there's a nerd out there raging because it was done before in animation and then in comics. Yeah. Yeah, we know our shit.
Wow. Side note there. There was a little antidote, little pop-up in the films, we know, back from 2018. So as much as, we could kind of recap a lot of that original discussion for Spider-Verse, we actually talked extensively about it in episode 11, way back in the late, December of 2018. And then again...
Episode 11.
So, and then again in episode 12, our best of 2018.
Yeah.
So we were in love with that movie then. Still think it's a piece of art. So if you would like to refresh your minds and listen to way back when we were still young wee ones, 200 episodes ago, episode 11 and 12.
Just know that the soundtrack for that film in its score was probably one of the best scored movies that didn't win an award for best score.
Yeah, agreed.
So I still stand to that point. That Daniel Pembroke?
Sure.
Pemble?
Want me to look that up?
You're going to have to look that up.
I'm going to look it up.
It's Daniel something. Daniel P. Created such an amazing score for that film.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a Cup of Rad episode if we didn't screw up someone's name. Who are you again? Tahikai?
Oh, and then I had it, and then it disappeared. Spider-Verse.
Oh, so Spider-Verse, it does deal with the story of Miles Morales, whereas in the cartoon, it deals with Peter Parker. The comic deals with Peter Parker. And actually in the cartoons, it's more Parker. So, Miles.
Daniel Pemberton.
You
weren't too far.
I said Pemberbrook.
Yeah, it was P.
Pember.
We're good.
DP, yo. That's what we're going to call you now.
Oh, goodness. Not good.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I'm sure
That's how I'd walk into all the places. I'd be like, DP in the house, yo. I'm going to change my name. DP.
Right on.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Okay. Let's see if he remembers for the next episode when he can introduce himself as DP.
Hello there. It's DP.
Oh, God.
Wait, we can get smokier. Hello there. It's DP. See?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew.
No, you're not gonna like.
No, we're gonna stop the conversation and.
Okay. So across the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse? Is there anything else before we dig
across
into this?
Are we gonna? I don't know.
We normally I kind of jumped right in.
We haven't had anything going on.
We literally just have done this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's been so close since we recorded last episode.
I know, right?
Which is surprising for us.
Holy moly.
Lately.
Two movies.
Well, you know what? June is coming into a very hot month.
Insanity for things.
Right? This last little while here, like in reality,
movies, festivals, all sorts of...
Well, but like, so this month is Spider-Verse. Then we have Rise of the Beast from Transformers. Then we have The Flash. Mm-hmm. Then we have Indiana Jones.
I know, we actually have a movie every weekend.
It's literally like this feels like the glory days.
I don't understand why you didn't include Strays in there.
Oh yeah, we'll Strays in there. We gotta figure out when that's.
I don't know when we're gonna see it. I mean, if I'm gonna lose one of them, it's gonna be Strays. Let's be honest.
Is it though? A movie with just you and me, little cartoon Will Ferrell dog swearing.
If we can go to the VIP, because then we don't have little.
Heck yeah, teenagers. We can.
Of course, you're like, I'm on it.
There's a beer involved in that, then. Will Forte's in the movie. Of course, I want to go see it.
That is true.
Right.
That is true.
So yeah. Well, then then there's Disney's Pixar's Elemental.
So we could try to do it on the 16th because we're gonna see The Flash early.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
Anyways.
I don't think we should plan dates while we're talking.
I don't know. They just get a little slice of our sitting here planning life. Elemental from Disney.
Yeah, that one still hasn't sold me yet, actually, which is sad to say.
Yeah. It seems like one that, I'll watch it. But
I'm feeling like I could wait for that one.
Yeah.
I'd rather go see a cartoon dog swearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at. And after watching this movie, which you're going to talk about, you'll know why. After the break. Have you ever wondered why you've always missed DP?
Oh, God.
Did you have an itching, burning sensation?
Oh, my goodness. What is happening?
Well, you haven't listened to enough Cup of Rat. Doctor, subscribe. You listen to all episodes, especially episode 11 and 12. We'll actually take you back to Into the Spiderverse. Back to our regular scheduled programming.
That sounded like Kids in the Hall. By the way. Like even looked like it.
So
Canadian came out new.
Hey, good day. We're going to take you down to the good old cinema. Hey.
So we went to IMAX for this movie.
Yes.
We had not been to IMAX since 2017, I think. So that was really fantastical. And this one is a smaller IMAX than we were used to from when down the States there.
Which is kind of cool because the screen was bigger.
Yeah.
Closer to the screen.
Like I sat down, I'm like, whoa. Like I can feel the difference.
Yeah. Was it the DP?
It was the DP. It was just so big.
It was. I was even in awe.
Wow.
I don't say that often.
We're not even drinking.
My mouth was left.
We have decaf coffee. Mouth was left gaping?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
From how big it was.
Oh, okay. So awkward transition into the fact that we brought our son with us.
Oh, God. Just left that one in.
I know, but it was exciting because, then to go to the IMAX film to see Spider-Verse, remember the thing we were talking about?
Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse.
So it was pretty cool because it felt like we were going to a ride, though, like...
This one is set up
this way.
The old Colossus used to do a lot of documentaries back when IMAX only did documentaries. They didn't do theatrical films.
Yeah. Right.
And it was a lot more of like the stuff you would get in like a D-box kind of setting.
Well, it was, it's the stuff that you could go see, like, science documentaries at museums.
Yeah.
And everything would be
I went to actually 2 or 3 when I was in high school. That shows you how old that IMAX is.
So that was kind of just a fun experience. We got these little cool collectible cards, art cards. Since there was 3 of us, we got all 3 that they offered, which was fun. The front and back. So those were the little
different characters,
fun little art pieces there. Quick
reviews.
Quick
reviews.
Go for it.
Oh, me.
Yeah, you.
No, you.
Me?
You? Me? Huh?
Me?
You?
Huh? Oh, nice. Quick review. I loved it.
It's pure art. It is actually art. It is not necessarily a kid's movie. And I'm going to reiterate it again. Animation can be a medium to express things that cannot be done in an actual live format.
It is not a genre. It is a medium.
And I think you could almost... And I had said this to Jesse, and he laughed at me because he's like, well, isn't that what animation is art? Yes, but this is actual. You could cut stills out of this film and hang it on your wall. There are so many pieces, and we'll get into that in the spoiler section where I really experienced the art portion of it. But
I think that's one thing with Into the Spider-Verse, though. It was so visually stunning to see, and animation tends to be certain pieces are really pretty. Yeah. But this was bombastic and also
pretty
beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't overwhelming to the point where you couldn't handle it. There was places where it was overwhelming and it made sense for the story, but it was beautiful to experience.
And this one, they definitely feel like they let their artists go a bit more to create more art. within the film.
Yeah.
And the story itself has a lot of heart and a lot of weight, and there's a lot of things that can be learned from it.
And I thought it was great for both. You know, it spoke to, especially say with our family there, spoke to a teenager, and it spoke to parents as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't one story. It talked to many levels of generations and people, just how we handle many situations. So I think that's what makes it even better, is that it has multiple audiences that it can speak to.
And DP dropped a really good score too. Yeah. It still hits. And that was something that I was worried about, because the original score was so fantastically different, especially with using like the scratching and all that in it, that I was worried that it was just going to become standardized, similar to how like Black Panther was amazing and the second one was kind of like, right? But I will admit, I think the music, like the soundtrack, as in like the lyrical soundtrack that was used, was more memorable in the first Spider-Verse than this one.
I agree, because we tried to go and listen to it after the film, and it was nothing really I could get into. It blended in. I really liked the song in the end credits.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more mellow. It sounded different. But the
other ones that you could definitely feel that these ones were made to be in the film, where the other ones they probably collected for the film.
Yes.
Right.
So because some of the original soundtrack ones, some of them had Spider-Man like lyrics, but I think they kind of felt almost sampled and tweaked into the fit with the movie. These ones felt very much written just for it. Yeah. And so they're going to be hard to really enjoy outside of the movie. Yeah. Right.
So there's that. But you know what? This is a film that you need to not wait for it to be at home. Yeah. You need to find the biggest, loudest scream to melt your face off and see, hear, and feel everything that's in this. If you like the first one, there is so much that can be taken from it in the second one, and it is expanding on the mythos and building your own character.
Yeah.
Right? Not fated to be something. And totally worth the
I couldn't
price
have
of
said
admission.
it better. Okay. I like to melt your face off. That was pretty good.
And at the end of the day, if I doubt there will be anything from any other studio this year that will deserve that Best Animation Oscar.
Yeah, I agree.
From story to animation.
Yeah.
Because what we've seen for animation this year is not, yes, Mario was beautiful, but story-wise very lacking.
Yes.
Right? We just mentioned Elemental. It hasn't really caught attention. It looks like it could be pretty, but it does also looks very Disney generic.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be I can tell the story.
Zootopia
it's a
meets
Romeo and Juliet.
Meets
right?
Inside Out feel. Like,
yeah.
It's what if elements had emotions, right? Like, kind of feel. And by all means, hopefully it proves us wrong. But
I don't think it's going to push the boundaries that Into the Spiderverse, Across the Spiderverse did. And speak to so many levels of people in a very real way.
Yes.
Because I think that's what's impressive, is it's taken a science fiction situation and made you feel like it's still talking about archetypes and everything that we deal with, regardless of, I'm not Spider-Man, but,
But I can still feel those emotions.
Yeah.
And that fear of talking to someone about something.
Yeah, or and losing people, or loneliness, or as
feel like you have to do something.
Yeah, and as a parent dealing with the issues of growing up and all that sort of stuff. So
trusting and accepting and
that was a pretty long review, but it shows how much we really, really enjoy that. So spoiler time now. If you have to leave and you haven't gone and watched it, please run and sprint to the movie theater.
Swing even.
And go watch the film, and then you can come back and listen. So if you had to leave, thanks for joining us. If you're going to stick around, it's spoiler time.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
Just giving enough people really time to turn it off. Okay.
So Across the Spider-Verse spoiler time. I'm going to start with the art, because that was the thing that really spoke to me within it.
Yeah.
the fact that like in the first one, we really didn't really see a lot of different art styles. Yes, the characters had different art styles, but we got to actually really experience different universes.
Yes.
And the art styles within that universe.
Yeah, because it wasn't just this one universe with the different characters in it. We went to experience really different realms almost of it.
So getting to experience Spider-Woman, her whole universe, for me as a visual person, was like almost tear worthy.
I agree. Yeah.
Watching how the colors and the shades and the tone changed with the emotions, but it didn't overwhelm it. Mm-hmm. It just enhanced it, because you could easily go like bright reds or like these splashes where it's like it takes over, but like this was like, and it happened so subtly and so fluidly.
Well, it was instead of a shadow, it changed the color, for a lot of the time. So like her hair was more green for a while, so it still had the paleness that would have been the blonde hair, but it also felt like neon lights were in different places. And I thought that was really cool, because it wasn't, it grabbed your attention, but it wasn't distracting to the point where that was all you focused on. Yeah.
And like that was the thing that was really cool, was that because that's also something her original comic run had.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of those colors and those shadings and those splashes of color in the background to show off the emotion. So they were able to incorporate that. Like now her book's pretty standard. Like, but when it first came out, it was art.
Yeah.
And
well, then it's showing though how you can take, you're not relying on the words. It's that importance of the whole graphic medium to take that art and convey emotions that are just enhanced with the words. Yeah.
And just even with the slam poetry feel of the drumming, like that was something else.
I really liked that.
When that started, that gave me that goosebumpy moment where it was, this is going to be something different.
Yeah.
But that also right off the bat set the tone of the film. It was basically saying this film is not the same as we saw. Their characters have grown. I love how they
specifically stated it too, which was hilarious.
They've grown, they are different, and they're dealing with some shit.
Well, because she was much heavier and darker.
But wasn't that beautiful to see as a character, for a female character?
Yes.
Because like
she wasn't just bubbly.
Yeah. And, it wasn't just like the peppy kind of damsel in distress. Like it was the idea, because even the first one, she was still strong, but she was a little bit more coy and flirtatious. But now we actually got to see more of an angsty Gwen.
Yeah.
And dealing with the problems that came along with it. Mm-hmm. And she wasn't peppy. She was dealing with crap. Mm-hmm. And like,
well, I mean,
it was cool to see that.
Really hard to be put in that situation that she was in. Not only did she lose her best friend, but then her dad constantly telling her that she killed her best friend.
Yeah.
And
without knowing that,
and you can't tell me that she also then at some point didn't start to believe that I killed my best friend, because, well, it was a shitty situation for her, but there's a lot of emotions to unpack there with that. The blaming yourself for something that you feel like you could prevent, but you couldn't actually prevent. And like and I'm sure she's wondering, okay, how did this happen? How did I not realize that he was in distress? How did, oh my God, it's just,
how can I do better?
Within, the first 10 minutes of the film, you already have all of this stuff being thrown at you of like, no wonder she walked out, you know?
Well, then it was just wild, because then we got the opening credits, right?
Right.
Like,
and I was like, oh yeah, this didn't happen yet.
Right? So that was a bit of a trip, right? So that was really impressive to see. And then when we did see her world throughout it still brought that color palette, and I thought that was something that was just really special to see. I love when animation can play, because like I think that's the greatest thing of like, say, Fantasia. Fantasia was supposed to play, and it's like we forgot that.
Yeah.
We found out how to make money off of animation and forgot how that there was art involved. So you look back at like some of the old Disney stuff and you see how much art was involved, and then it became standardized. Even DreamWorks, as much as like say Shrek wasn't necessarily stunning art, it was different. Yes. It was gritty.
It has, exactly.
It felt, and then DreamWorks found their style, and now it's just, right?
Just very much the DreamWorks style.
Same with Illumination. Illumination found their style pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I never in a million years thought a studio like Sony would create some of the best art on screen in animation when they haven't had a good track record for animated films.
Yeah. Well, so I really like when the Renaissance or Medieval Vulture, whatever they call them.
Yeah, the Renaissance one.
That was such a different style than we had seen, and it was done so well. It looked like an old, Da Vinci drawing come on to paper, life, moving around. When it would throw something, it threw the same artwork. Yeah. It was not just in this little blob, you know, and then you have it all moving around. The other thing too, like with that fight scene just starting out, I love watching Gwen swing around. She's so much of a dancer style for it. She's got a very unique design for that, and I really love the ballet almost of it. Right, when she was gorgeous for that, when she was saving the helicopter. Yes, just like the way the shots moved, and like it was so much fun to watch. Yeah, and like. They did just the right amount of like speeding up and slowing down of the film in places to really get that almost that spider sense, that reaction time. Yeah. Right. Where, you don't have time to think, and the sheer gravity of what could happen. And that whole scene, it was really, the vulture was just such a different thing because it was with the no color. And that one. And then when is it just Spider-Man 2099? Yeah. That's what his character is. Miguel O'Hara. When they show up and then you just have that extra little bit of difference going on. Right. There's just then you've got their different styles in there as well. Like to keep that all in check for the animation. Because like this film was also done during COVID times. So a lot of it was actually animated at animators' homes. Yeah, that's insane. They sent the stuff they needed and they, had to, but to keep all those worlds. Right. So this is because they interact too. First little while, right? Yeah, right. So, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh yeah, Miles. And then we're gonna have this next chapter here. And I liked how they had their introductions with the like where they were and the time frames and what the what the Spiderverse was, and it felt like flipping a channel, and now I'm gonna watch this instead. Where it was very clear the vibe was different, the music was different, the styling of the writing was different, everything about it was different. So the big villain is the Spot, which he's just so comedic and ridiculous at the beginning, and then you find out how that doesn't help to not to create your villains. To underestimate the severity of what someone is dealing with. And that's really what it is you underestimate what someone is capable of and is dealing with, and you don't give it the I want to say credit it deserves. Yeah. It could come back and bite you. Mm-hmm. Well, this is what I think is interesting, because the whole movie really talks about how he wants to write his own story, but the hilarity of it is he creates the Spot, not on purpose, in the original creation of the Spot, but this new incarnation from this interaction where he dismisses him, calls him the villain of the week, and doesn't really think. So that pisses the Spot off, right? Mm-hmm. So he decides, well, guess what? I'm going to show you. Mm-hmm. Well, that is the exact same plot point of Electro. Yeah. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah. Right? So when we get into talking about how the spiders are connected, there's a connection that isn't directly said, but it's the same thing. Oh yeah, it's its own different type of similar scenario for something. That's a good point. Something that maybe not every single one of them share, but I think all of them do. It just maybe it wasn't the same villain. It's still that concept of dismissing one and assuming that they're not, and they have a temper tantrum for something because. Yeah. Because the Spot now has become an arch nemesis. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, just watching that convenience store fight and how difficult it was for Miles to deal with this. Yeah. he is not someone to be trifled with.
Yeah.
So difficult to contain when he can just literally drop in and out of places and things drop through him. Like, obviously something that deserves a lot more credit for what he's experiencing, right?
Yeah.
It almost got to it definitely got to that point where it had become irritating. Or like, how are you possibly going to do anything with this? But it shows his ego with the assumption that he can just, it's totally fine. Like, why aren't you just behaving for me? Why aren't you just, why is this difficult, you know? And what he's balancing, because he has other things that he's supposed to be doing.
He's supposed to be doing, right? He's trying to balance that whole everything. And, so I thought that was kind of cool with how, you know, you had just things falling and like flipping, and like any moment you just fall through a hole and you just get spat out somewhere else. Like, or punches would come through and come in differently. And
some of those were fun where it was actually planned and utilized. And that was pretty cool.
Right.
So it was like the Doc Strange moment of being able to punch through portals and like that.
Yeah. I think one thing though, like basically by the end of the movie, there was a lot to unpack because it isn't as light and fluffy and like super uplifting as like the first one. The first one had quite that theme of like, you know, finding yourself and becoming your own person and like coming together as a team.
Yeah, it had a lot of positivity still in it.
Whereas like this one was the moody, angsty teen more in dealing with wanting to be part of something and maybe realizing it isn't what you want to be part of.
Well, yeah, because I mean, with Gwen, she just assumed, well, you know, she understandably, but was running away from having to deal with her problems because she didn't know how to deal with that. And it's the idea you think you find a family, it's something that's helping you, and then Miles just so badly wanted to fit in. Yeah, you know, again, tired of trying to struggle to balance everything, right? So when, you know, he slips himself into following to the Spider-Verse there, you know, it seems such a welcome thing. Yeah. But it's not nearly as simple, right?
Right. So you've got 2099. Miguel O'Hare he's kind of the antagonist, really. Yeah. He has decided that he is the one to keep the universes intact, you know, and keep everything.
As soon as he says, well, no one else will do it. And I'm like, that sounds a little Thanos-y. Right. When you decide that something is too scary and you have to take that responsibility on for yourself to make those hard choices, I'm like, that sounds like a little overbearing there.
Yeah, and he's so intense about it, right? He's so, and you find out on his story that he, you know, is struggling with the fact that the loss of his, only to find a universe where it was his family, and he decided to try to keep it, and then being an anomaly, it destroyed it.
So then he essentially lost it twice.
Yeah, so then he wants to try to, you know, keep everything at bay.
You gotta wonder, is he trying to make sure things are not destroyed, or just I guess no, there's not. I was going to say, is there, you know, without realizing it, like more of an alternative motive, but
most likely there'll be something. He's probably looking for something.
Yeah. It just, you know, I would like to say that he's trying to prevent something else, or making sure, or is it the idea that, you know, make sure you don't get your happy ending out of this event because you're not supposed to. We're supposed to have these terrible things happen to us. I had to have it happen to me. Yeah. I had to have it twice. So you have to as well. Yeah. You know, that seems like a more legitimate motivation factor, rather than trying to make sure he saves everything. Yeah. Maybe it started out that first way, but I think it's been corrupted, right?
Oh, yeah. Because at the end of the day, right? There's the Parker luck, and there's only they're trying to apply the Parker luck onto every spider person, even though there's not every spider person is actually a Peter Parker.
That is true.
So that same fatedness shouldn't really apply to the others. Yeah. Because they themselves, in that retrospect, are technically anomalies, because the main spider is technically Peter. Yeah. And anyone that branches off of that is its own variation. Right. So,
So it's not. So then, they're trying to apply the Peter aspect rather than the spider aspect more than anything, right? Which is why you make a good point though, that they keep pointing out about losing a captain and losing someone close to them, all these sort of things. But then what about the thing that ties them together of creating an arch nemesis? As well. That they never talked about that because that doesn't, and it's almost a good tie of realizing the things we take responsibility for or notice are things that impact us in a negative way versus how our actions impacted someone else in a negative way, and taking that responsibility for it. Right.
It ties back to with great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly. Right? It all fits right
Your
back into
power of that you have to stop this also is responsible to make sure that they are rehabilitated.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think that's even if you look at that, people who in our real world then actually have power to enact change don't realize how much power they really wield and how things that they say influence people, and when and I'm not talking about influencers, I'm talking about actual government officials and people who do gain a certain status of respect. They do have responsibility to understand that the things they say will impact people in a positive and a negative way. So it's a good basic principle for us to remind ourselves about, right?
Oh, totally. Totally. This movie has a ton of spiders.
So many to look at.
I'm going to backtrack just a moment, though. But Spider-29, his design is stunning because the red on him glows.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's techno-organic,
So he had said at some point that he was more of a vampire one. Is he in this?
I don't remember that portion of...
Because then he injected himself with what looked like blood, and then was that part of the glowing aspect?
I don't remember that much of 2099.
Yeah.
Because, 2099 was more of the ultra dark, violent kind of universe.
Well, he looked like Spawn every time you saw him. He very much had that vibe, right?
It was created during the 90s when everything was extreme.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so, it fits perfectly.
Futuristic and everyone had, but Spider-Man 2099 was one of the few 2099 heroes that Marvel did that stuck.
Oh, okay.
And stuck around. A lot of the other ones just kind of went, whoopsie.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Yeah, just go under there. Well, you're gone now. Who are we talking about? Spider-29? Yeah, he's pretty badass.
And then, so we got Peter, it is just Peter.
Peter B. Parker.
Peter B. Parker back with his little bouncing baby. Spider baby.
Mayday,
I think, yeah. So I thought that was a bright light that came out of things, considering how miserable he was. And that there is... it's this extra little reminder, though, of that shining light that Miles really is.
Yeah.
And that hope that he can provide. And it was very apparent with how, him running through that Spider-Verse, standing up for himself, telling me I can have both. I can do what I need to. You're not telling me how my life's going to go. That striving to do something different and break that mold. And I understand a certain amount of fate, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you should just say, this is the way it's supposed to go. Yeah. And, not ever try to change something.
Well, it ties right into what his parents want. His parents want him to be close to them and not change and, follow, his mom's mad about his Spanish and all these things. And he's like, well, this isn't me. I'm like an engineer. I want to travel. I want to do these things that are in the impossible. Yeah. Right. So
it was a really cool speech that they had between the two of them. How, it was her understanding. Wait a second. I teared up with the idea of, you belong here. Don't ever tell anyone that you don't belong here. And that fits so perfectly then into the Spider-Verse aspect, where here you have him being told he doesn't deserve to be a spider. He doesn't belong here. He's
because his spider came from another universe.
And it's well, but why can he not be the first thing that actually happens like that? Yeah. Why does it have to be that way? Right. And they had the collider, but other than that, was there any actual portals opening up in his world? And how quickly it happened in the Indian one, how quickly that portal opened as soon as he saved Captain Singh It was like, it was instantaneous. So if he was truly that anomaly where something terrible was going to happen, should have happened by now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And maybe it's that, you know, forging his own way. So
yeah. Spider-Man India was pretty dope.
That was so cool, like with the bracelets being thrown around too, and such a cool design. So
he's definitely one of those characters that got an upgrade from his comic counterpart.
Oh, he is actually in the comics?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the comic, he literally wears like the spider mask, and like he's got like the spider shirt, and then just has like puffy pants.
Oh, okay.
So like they really
put effort into this.
Yeah. It looks more legit compared to like before. It was just like
a little half-assed on that one.
Yeah. So, but that the way that world was painted though too,
it was so pretty,
right? It was just so interesting. Like the amount of like when they're swinging through and seeing all the things, it was just so.
Well, it was. We're so used to seeing Spider-Man in New York style buildings, and to see it in something so different of a backdrop was definitely unique, right?
Yeah. I love I love chai tea. Chai tea? Chai means tea.
You're just saying tea.
Yeah.
And I kept laughing at that. I was like, yeah, I've heard that before, and I know that, but we still just we do the same thing here. You know, so many places it's chai tea, and of course, there's a difference between being ignorant. I never knew that until very recently. I just kept laughing about that. So, I'd like some tea.
Yeah. Tea.
So, that whole him, trying to escape and get back home from the Spider headquarters there. That was pretty intense.
That scene was intense.
Which one? All of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because like it was just so fluid.
Yeah.
And so grand, and like the music buildup and everything, and just the amount of spiders.
Well, like you wanted to look at the main thing. That's what's going to be exciting to watch it again, because then you also want to look at all the background and the Easter eggs. And I mean, I know I don't know a ton of the spiders, but it's still like, oh, that one looks cool. Oh, that one looks cool. Oh, that one looks cool.
Well, still, you just gotta like piece it.
I want the dinosaur, like T-Rex.
The T-Rex spider.
Man, I mean, that was pretty awesome. Spider T-Rex, I guess. It's not Spider-Man, so.
Spider-Rex?
And then you'd be like, okay, well, then there's a world somewhere where there's just T-Rexes still, or dinosaurs that like rule the world, and so many things.
Yeah. So many questions.
Yeah, so much happening. So
the one spider I think they did dirty, but I understand exactly what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And the moment I heard the voice actor that was playing him, I realized it was going to, or not voice actor, but the actor's voice. I knew that it wasn't going to be played straight.
Yeah.
And it was really sad because I love Ben Reilly.
Yeah, I know. I saw that and I was like, oh, he's not going to be happy with that.
I love Ben Reilly as the Scarlet Spider. And I think that costume, as ridiculous as it is, it's just such a cool design. And having Andy Samberg play Ben Reilly, and he's just like that over the top brooding parody of himself, and parody of the 90s.
It was funny, right? But if you are a fan, definitely not doing justice for something.
It's like, that was probably my most grown moment in the movie. Was like, but I knew exactly what they're doing because he like commented on the musculature and like the pouches, and like he's,
all the ridiculousness that
I'm posing
came out of that.
And like, my perfectly manicured pose, and like, so like I understood, I got it, but I still was just like, here I was like, they actually were showing that they were gonna have Scarlet merch and all that, and I was like, is he actually gonna get like a moment? And then it was played for laughs.
It was definitely not a moment.
That made me sad.
Well, then you're just gonna have to feature. Don't you have a Scarlet Spider figure?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then you can feature that and just be like, remember how cool he is? Check out this awesome pose. Right.
So yeah. So but yeah, there's.
I love that Mayday had Spider Pig pajamas on. Like, that made me super happy for the most ridiculous reasons.
Spider Ham,
yeah. Spider Pig. Spider-Man. I know it's Spider-Man.
No, that was funny. It was funny to see that. Who's gonna start crocheting little baby hats? Spider hats.
Yes, because that child was freaking adorable, and that's gonna be a perfect costume. That whole thing, that whole setup right there.
Oh yeah.
There is dads out there being like, "Yep, that's my Halloween costume right there. I can wear a bathrobe, and I can just have an excuse to walk around with the kid." With a hat on, yeah, we're good.
A cup of coffee.
Yeah, good times.
Yep.
So, yeah, so we escape. We come back. Miles gets back home, of course, from this little genetic scanning machine. And I remember when he dropped down, my first thought was, wow, he just looks like he rolled into Gotham. Like, it was really dark and rainy, and then I realized how much it really didn't feel like that before. Yeah. But I didn't think anything really of it. I wasn't sure if it was just like commentary.
Just a tonal thing.
Yeah, commentary on how he's feeling right now. Because, I mean, pretty shitty, honestly. You have everyone out there. You lost now your friends who you thought were on your side, and you find out they knew all of this. And, like, what was their end game then with everything, right? So, okay, cool. The world's falling apart. And then, here he is in this room, and, I'm so proud of him for finally figuring out how to talk to his mom. But then at the same time, like, it was almost like that very subtle spidey senses for yourself.
Yeah.
Because then Gwen is going after him and is in his room, and you're like, wait a second, where is he in the house?
Yeah.
Like what, where is he talking to his mom? And then when she just laughs, I'm like, well, this is strange. Okay. And so then when you see Uncle Aaron walk in, you're like, okay, something's wrong. And then it took way longer than it should have to put those connections together of like, okay, because at first it was like, well, something went wrong and he went to the wrong place. And then you're like, wait a second, genetic coding. His genetic Spider-Man genes are from this universe. Okay.
From Universe 42.
I thought that was really slick, the way it was delivered and
because
done.
they really did a good job of mixing between Gwen and him back and forth during the time to see they would actually have the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
and it was like a Sin City vibe for that.
Yeah.
For that world, very dark, very brooding,
more angular.
Yeah, and it's like
more dark, hatching,
really close, really like almost stretched. Like Uncle Aaron was very imposing.
Yeah.
And you see all of that, and obviously with things going wrong in that world there, I was surprised with finding out that Miles is then the Prowler in that world. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was a really cool way of showing, though, that without that spider, then how things have fallen apart, and it is that importance then of having some of the spiders, but maybe that
a positive role model.
Yeah.
Because Aaron wasn't a positive role model.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then his mom would have also fallen apart because her world has just been crushed, and not being able to have that same support and that same solid foundation that they are able to provide for him in his home world, right? So
it kind of had like a bit, not 100%, but it reminded me very much of like Back to the Future too, where like you've gone to the wrong timeline and you don't know how you're going to get back.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's literally how I felt when I was watching that ending. Right. So I thought that was kind of a cool.
Like, it was pretty dark too, being strapped to the thing and like, all the, coming out of the shadows, and like, that was harsh. Right. Yeah. And that's just that reminder though, that again, this is not a kid's film. This is very dark and dramatic and intense. And, so we're getting to the end of this, and I was like, there is way too much movie for this to wrap up. I was not aware that there was going to be another movie, right? But the length of the movie wasn't even an issue.
Yeah.
But I just like, if they're trying to wrap this up now, it's going to feel rushed.
Yeah.
So it was very much of a relief, because then when they start like staring and you look out and you're like, this is going to be the end of it. Isn't it going to be the end? So then I'm very happy that it was very quickly, clearly stated in the movie that there is going to be that final
Beyond
chapter
the
there. So you're like, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Because if it had not been known to be, announced or something like that, it would have been, what the?
Yeah. So that would have been terrible.
Yeah.
And I think it's only a year away. So,
which
will be nice.
And then, we forgot about Gwen going back, though, in the middle of all that, though. She goes
because there's a character we haven't talked about.
Okay.
Spider-Punk.
Oh my God, we went through the whole thing without talking about Spider-Punk. Hobie was like awesome. I loved the art style with him as well.
Yeah.
Especially, and Kiddo had pointed out too, like his guitar would change between being a cutout of a guitar to having a full like square behind it. It had so much of that punk style of the big London blocky punk letters, you know, a very Sex Pistols look to him, and everything about it looked like magazine cutouts of letters, right? And
well, he even himself would be faded sometimes.
Yeah.
And he would be like newspaper versus magazine versus.
Yeah, he was a very much of just a blend. It looked like a hodgepodge of cutouts of made his art. And he was such a crucial character because, yes, he was kind of seeing how things were going, you know, fitting perfectly with the not following what the authority has told me to do, making your own path, being you, all that sort of stuff. All the real positives of the punk movement. Yeah. Not positives, but authenticity of the punk movement, I would say. And I thought that was so well done. And
well, he was the Peter B. Parker.
Yes.
Of this movie.
Exactly. Right. And I like that he, you know, thought and gave Gwen that the little watch thing.
That was kind of cool. Was because so you're watching him walk around and he's just picking things up.
Yeah.
And then that's basically what it turns out to be. The idea that he made himself his own bracelet.
Yeah. And I love that it had his style even when Gwen was wearing it.
And when it creates a portal, it's his style of portal, right?
Yeah. So it's very much his fingerprint on it, right? Yeah, I can't believe I skipped past all of that. We were so focused on the other ones, but he was such a crucial part of all of this. Right?
Well, it's one of those ones that, like, I know we're spoiling the crap out of it, but it's like still like it's one of those ones where you need to watch to see because just his style alone.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it again and just experience
and just those little things, like, you know, you gotta use your palms. Simple, matter of fact, not even like,
right?
You know, so
yeah, it's that it's impressive and just I like characters then with that where he was just observing. It was matter of fact. It was simple. It wasn't big grand thing, but it was speaking his mind and just you know, he's quiet. He wouldn't say anything more than he needed to say. You know, so yeah, no, I really did enjoy that character for sure. So
it's interesting because we don't get any of the other spiders from the first movie until the very end when Gwen decides that she's going to collect everyone that she needs, new and old, right, to basically save Miles.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see all of them. So like, okay, well then we'll get some of that same back. It'll be a little culmination of all that sort of stuff because then it shows then just like Peter B. Parker that they would have had this positive impact from Miles where they're obviously was not involved in a little cabal of Miguel's, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays because, you know, you're not only going to have 2099 wanting to destroy basically Miles, but then you're also going to have to deal with Prowler basically either wanting to destroy Miles and come to his world, or like there's going to be a lot of tensions going through in the sequel, right?
And then we still have Spot.
Yeah, we still got to deal with Spot.
We still have this, who was like turned into this like black hole of insanity.
He's been going between universes, sucking up all the matter from the what is it called?
From the anomalies? From the collider?
Yeah, collider.
Yeah. So now we also have this.
He's like out of control. Like he's like almost glitching himself because he's got so much power within him, and he's going back to the regular Miles' universe to destroy everything that Miles loves.
And of course that is the one step closer for his dad becoming captain, and so you know we gotta see
his dad dying.
What's gonna go with
or his mom dying.
I know it'll be interesting to then see, like, because in to say, well, he should fit that same mold. We know he's not the case. It shouldn't be his dad then in reality that dies. His mom dying.
His mom dies in the comics.
Would be really horrific. And still just as terrible, if not more so, because she was even trying to make those connections with him.
Yeah, she dies in the comics by Venom.
It'd be impressive, and I don't put it past them to actually do something like that, though. I mean, they did kill with his uncle in the first one, so it would make sense for them to do something like that, right? But yeah, I'm very excited to see.
Or is it going to be some weird giant culmination where they all get pulled into one universe? So many choices.
So much to go. There is a lot to
wrap up in a movie.
So it will be interesting to see how that goes. And I mean, luckily they're going to have a decent amount of people that's already now established that you kind of have the good versus the bad guys going on. Hopefully you will have a relatively small team with Miguel, because I think they're going to see enough of the issues that they're dealing with, but they're going to have to pick their battle over what's going on between, say, the Spot and, destroying Miles, right? So.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be wild. There's a lot of live action cameos in the movie.
The connections, they actually
use old footage from all the different Spider-Man movies, except MCU.
They just comment on Doc Strange.
Yeah, that little nerd in Doc Strange.
Do you think he really should be a doctor with that name?
Yeah. And then there's something that we get that was really exciting to see, but then also reminded me of the MCU's failure. We get to see Donald Glover as the Prowler. He's in a cell waiting to be sent to his universe.
Yeah.
And, in actual Prowler outfit, right? And it just reminded me again of how many characters the MCU wasted. And I just hope that they will be able to bring them back in some form, because how cool would we actually get Glover to actually play, Yeah.
Well, Prowler. I mean, he is going back to his realm. He very well still could actually show up in a Spider-Man movie, but it's not going to be.
Who knows? Who knows? They did pull Michael Keaton's Scorpion over into the Venomverse. So
so you never know what they could do.
I don't know. Where's Miguel on that?
Right?
Why is he not
Was he not fixing all the problems of all the things being broken that way? Yeah, right. Yeah. They did have an homage to the Venom movie as well.
Yep.
With the convenience store. Yep. I had forgotten about it because I'm looking and I was like, I should know this. I feel like it is important. I recognize it. I can't remember what it's from.
Yeah.
So it shows how much that movie really stuck to me though. So,
We also, right? Yeah. We got to check out the Lego-verse.
That was hilarious. He was their best agent.
Yeah.
Come on, he was on point. That was hilarious. I love that. That was fun creativity right there. So
right.
So much good stuff.
Yeah, there's just so much going on, and the visuals and the music and just the story, the is just so good, and yeah.
I'm very happy we saw it in IMAX. We could see as big as possible. I'm very excited to watch it again. It deserves many watches. I'm very excited for the third one as well. So.
Oh yeah, Beyond the Spiderverse.
So that's everything, man. I think that's it, man.
So yeah, go see it.
I know, obviously, we told you everything about it, but go see it again. I don't know.
Well, you don't know. Maybe
you're like, it's okay.
And then you're like, oh, hot damn, it sounds amazing.
It really is
Go see it.
Because it deserves to be seen, because no matter what we say, you need to be immersed in it. You need to experience the colors, the designs, the fluidity of the motions of the camera around it, the interactions of things and how they blend together. I mean, it's stunning.
All I know is that looking at now that Figure Arts has Spider-Verse toys out, finally, I really want those.
I'm having a hard time not saying yes.
At least they come out in spurts, right?
I don't believe that, because every single time that things plan to come out, they come out earlier. So
no, but
we'll see.
Spider 29 is not supposed to be out until January.
Yeah. So
Miles and Gwen are a couple months or something like that.
Gotcha.
But their faces alone just look impressive.
Yeah, well, and Spider-Man deserves to be in a highly articulated figure.
Yeah, without the sloppiness that is the Marvel Legend in some form, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? So it definitely does make sense to buy that.
And I'm just excited because now Gwen has her cons back.
I like the cons, of course. I love that style, but I love because of her motion, I love the ballet slippers.
Yeah.
I love, like, I honestly, I was the girl that would have loved to have worn ballet slippers.
Yeah.
Because I just love the look of them.
Yeah.
But so I really like that.
Yeah.
But
it fit her vibe more because she was a drummer.
Exactly.
Before they really talked about dance, they added more of the dance aspect more within.
Well, and it really fits right now, especially in the film.
Yeah.
Of, you know, kind of switching those up, and apparently we find out they're Hobie's shoes though. So it really does fit with her character in this movie a lot more.
Oh, exactly.
It's that edginess that she had going on. So, but I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
And remember, stay rad, dudes.